The most important thing about diagnosing a hernia is to remember that it is completely a clinical diagnosis. Based on the cardinal features of reducibility and cough impulse, like we discussed, you can easily say whether it's a hernia or not. But sometimes we can do an ultrasound, especially in case of complicated hernias, to find out the contents and also to note the size of the prostate, to see the etiology and whether there's any residual urine after voiding. Other investigations are the routine preoperative workup that you need to do if you're planning to operate. Coming to the treatment of hernia. So earlier they used to use conservative methods like a truss, which is basically a belt that was worn over the inguinal region to keep the hernia in. But now we always go for surgery. Surgery can be open or laparoscopic. Laparoscopic surgeries can be totally extraperitoneal or transabdominal preperitoneal, and there are many other methods. But you need to first know about all the open surgeries. So the open surgeries can be herniotomy, herniorrhaphy, and hernioplasty. Herniotomy, as the name says, is just we open the sac and do a primary closure. This is mainly only done in infants or young, healthy individuals with no complications. The second one is herniorrhaphy, which is where we use the local tissues and musculature to reinforce the posterior wall and close the defect without any foreign materials. So the examples are Scholde's repair and modified Bassini's repair. Again, the indications for herniorrhaphy in modern surgery are very few. For example, if the field is contaminated and we cannot put a mesh in, or there's unavailability of the mesh, or again in a young, healthy male with no complications. And finally, talking about hernioplasty. This is the most important for your exam and you need to know the steps and complications. So the most common surgery done is Lichtenstein's tension-free mesh repair. Also, another point for clinical examination, how are you going to write the clinical diagnosis for your patient? So first you need to know whether it's a hernia and differentiate it from a hydrocele. Once you know that, you need to know whether it's inguinal or femoral. So please look up the differences between inguinal and femoral hernias. Also mention whether it's right-sided, left-sided, or a bilateral hernia. Once you know it's inguinal, you need to mention if it's direct or indirect. Again, you need to look up the differences between direct and indirect hernias because they can ask you this. And if it's indirect, you also need to mention whether it's a complete indirect or incomplete. Under incomplete, you have funicular and bubonoceles. Complete basically just means that it's extending up to the base of the scrotum. And also lastly, mention if there are any complications, which we discussed. So here are some important questions that you can be asked related to hernia, either in theory or in viva. You need to know the anatomy in and out. So the inguinal canal, it's an oblique canal of length 4 centimeters. You need to know the boundaries. By mechanisms, I mean what are the mechanisms physiologically that prevent the formation of hernia. For example, slit valve, ball valve, shutter mechanism, and the obliquity of the canal. What are the contents of the inguinal canal? So in males, we have the spermatic cord along with the ilioinguinal nerve and the genital branch of the genitofemoral nerve. And in females, we have the round ligament instead of the cord. Again, the cord has more contents, so the cord structures are vas deferens, arteries, veins, lymphatics, and nerves. So please look that up. You also need to know about the superficial and the deep ring. The superficial ring is a triangular opening in the external oblique aponeurosis, and the deep ring is a U-shaped opening in the fascia transversalis. Please look up the surface anatomy so that you can locate these while doing your clinical examination. Also learn the layers of the abdominal wall. This becomes important in surgery when you approach it from outside to inside, and also what are the boundaries of the Hesselbach's triangle. So this is the triangle through which a direct hernia comes out. The boundaries: superolaterally the inferior epigastric vessels, medially is the lateral border of the rectus, and inferiorly is the inguinal ligament. The second thing you need to know is the pathological anatomy, so all the parts of the hernia, that is fundus, body, neck, and the mouth, out of which the neck is the most important because a hernia with a narrow neck is one that's more prone to getting obstructed. Also, you need to learn the coverings of the indirect and direct hernias. Again, this is important for surgery. and also the differences between direct and indirect hernia. Another interesting thing to learn are the special types of hernias. So, Amayan's hernia is one where the content is the appendix. Litter's hernia, where the content is the Meckel's diverticulum. Madel's hernia is a hernia in W, where two bowel loops are coming in. Hernia in Glissard or sliding hernia is where, along with the bowel, another abdominal organ is coming in, such as the bladder. Richter's hernia is where only a circumference of the bowel is involved, and pantaloon hernia is a hernia where there's both direct and indirect components. The next thing you need to know is the surgical anatomy. So this, especially in laparoscopic surgery, where we put the scope and our view is going to be from the internal side of the peritoneum. So that's where we see the triangle of pain and the triangle of doom. So I'm not going to tell you the boundaries, please look that up, but the significance of the triangle of pain is that there are 3 nerves in this, which when they get injured are going to cause post-operative pain. And triangle of doom contains the external iliac vessels. If you injure these, then there's going to be severe bleeding. Corona mortis is an accessory obturator artery, which again, if injured, is going to cause a lot of bleeding if not identified correctly. The myopectineal orifice of Frouchard, please look up the boundaries again, but the significance is that all the hernias, including inguinal, direct, indirect, and femoral, come out through this quadrilateral area. So this needs to be covered with the mesh during surgery. Like we talked about, we need to know the steps and the complications of hernioplasty. So that was all about hernia. If you have any questions, please let me know.